Arsenal and Mikel Arteta have been knocked out of FA Cup to Manchester United. With Arsenal's form at the moment and the season in total, I ask the question, should Mikel Arteta be sacked? I'm going to go through the pros and cons of it and sort of the most important thing, my opinion.
Are you sure about that?
But no, of course, if you ever want to disagree or you agree with me, feel free to let me down in the comments below. Make sure you subscribe. Follow the links down in the description, my TikTok and my Twitter. We're trying to be a bit more active on both of those. So yeah, if you're doing like the content, please, give a like, share with your friends, whatever. But let's get into some of the pros and cons of Mikel Arteta's sacking. So if you ask me personally where I stand, I'm sort of on the fence, but I'm leaning more towards keeping, because if we look at how Mikel Arteta did since taking over, he took a team that was in 8th and he's had 3 consecutive second place finishes. But the thing is, they're not really achieving in any other aspects. Second place is great from where they came from, but it's all good using, we were back in 8th back in like 2020, 2021, but now we've sort of hit second 3 years in a row, and it's like, what more is there to achieve? Can Arteta do, the next step up? And, the excuse has been, this Man City team's out of this world. And to be fair, the last 3 years Man City have been fantastic. They've been the best team football's probably ever seen. But what's your excuse this season when it's Liverpool under a new manager, had to take Liverpool from Jurgen Klopp, and they're doing well on all fronts. They're doing well in the cups. They did lose to Tottenham in the Carabao Cup. They're still at the second leg. They're still doing very well in the Champions League, undefeated, and they're doing well in the Premier League as well. So what is the excuse this time? And Arsenal's best chance to win it is when in 2022, 2023, when there were quite a lot of points clear of Man City. Arsenal were 8 points clear of Manchester City that season, and unfortunately they did bottle it, so to speak. They did have a lot of injuries with guys like Saliba, but I do think, you call it what it is. It's about, if you're out by that far in front, you need to, be more sharp and be more aware. And I believe they lost to teams like Southampton, I think it was at the time. And, that season you can be like, okay, it was the first time they were in front. Maybe it's just youngsters, trying to progress and trying to be a bit better. It's still a relatively young core and a new team. But then you bring in signings like Declan Rice, and you bring in other guys like Kai Havertz, and you're not really progressing at all. You're still in second place, and like I said, Man City are a good team, but you're not progressing in cups either. You're not winning the FA Cups, Carabao Cups. You're not winning the Champions League, or getting to the semi-finals, or where they should be getting under Mikel Arteta. So for me, I'm sort of leaning towards stay. I think if you give him maybe more time, maybe you write the season off as a bad season, and you go again next year with new signings. But I think a lot to blame for this season is Mikel Arteta, and also the recruitment this season as well, I think has been awful. I think they signed a goalkeeper who was cup tied in Neto, so he couldn't play the Carabao Cup or couldn't play the FA Cup because he had already played for Bournemouth, I believe, so you couldn't even rotate your goalkeepers. Sterling is an odd one. I know it's experience, but I don't think he has the legs anymore. I don't think he can play it at the highest level anymore. I do like Mikel Merino. I think he's a good player, so I'll write that one up as a decent one. But Calafiori, I don't think that's what Arsenal need. I don't think they need any more depth at the left-back position. Or there's one thing that screams out to me in Arsenal. I think everyone sees it, and that's the striker position. I actually think Kai Havertz is a good footballer. Don't get me wrong, but you need a goal scorer, and you need someone who's going to come in and look like they're going to score every game. And I think there's been points made where it's like, do Arsenal fans go into games, bar set pieces, of course, which they're very good at? Do they think, oh yeah, we're going to score this game? Maybe with Saka on the pitch, but he's going to be out for 6 to 8 weeks or possibly longer. So I think it looks bad on that part as well. I think they needed someone. I bang on about it all the time, but I think Victor Gyökeres is perfect. They mentioned Isaac as well. I think that would be perfect too, but I think Gyökeres is an out-and-out goal scorer, so physical and would adapt well to Arteta's system. But they really don't have an out-and-out striker. Gabriel Jesus is one, but he never really hits form that often, and he's injured more often than he isn't, and I don't think he's reliable. They let go of Eddie Nketiah to Crystal Palace, who I didn't really rate that highly anyway, but it's just another striking option they don't have. And I think, if there's any chance of Arteta and Arsenal coming back in either the Champions League or the league, a striker should be a priority. I think that's what they need to bring in. I think Arteta does know that now, but it might be too little too late. But yeah, I think the recruitment's been a very strange one, and I just think Arteta and the recruitment team should have done better. People will say at Arteta's time and tenure at Arsenal that You know, he spent loads of money. They should be better than they're better than second. They should be winning stuff, and it's like that is true. But people are like, look at all the millions he spent. It's like, well, I don't really see that as a good argument, because if you look at the millions he's spent compared to, you know, a Chelsea, a Manchester United, you know, Nottingham Forest was spoken about as some miracle. They spent loads of money to be in the position where they are at the moment. And look at Man United, like I said, Chelsea, more better examples that they spend loads of money and they're not even close to what Arsenal are. In terms of league position, Arsenal would, I mean, Manchester United fans, Chelsea fans would gladly swap places. Maybe not Chelsea at the moment, to be fair, but the last few years definitely would swap places with Arsenal. Manchester United will swap places with Arsenal as well. So for me, the money argument is sort of null and void when you look at other teams are spending. And I think, to be fair, most of Arteta's transfers, the big ones as well, have been pretty good. I really like Declan Rice. I believe he is world class, if not, you know, borderline world class. I think this season he's taken a bit of a downturn, but I still really like him as a footballer. I think Ben White, when fit, is a very good right back and versatile centre back as well. He could play those positions too. Havertz, I think, is a miss, definitely. But I still think, again, I think he's a good footballer, but not for the price and what he offers to the team. I don't think is there. But you can go back and look at the other ones as well. Saliba is obviously very good. Gabriel is very good. Martinelli is a good one as well. So there are good transfers there. But for me, I just think the recruitment this season is an issue. And I think they should have probably done a bit more research into what they needed. And I think it was clear they needed a striker for a long time. But, you know, oh well. Another thing that really does bug me a bit about Arteta as well is his reluctance to rotate. And, you know, I mentioned it before, you know, I was at that Sporting game versus Arsenal. There was really no need for Saliba to play in the Europa League, because I don't think, it's going to sound weird, but I don't think they should have been focusing that much on the Europa League, especially 8 points out in front of, that's when they were 8 points out in front of Man City at the time. And then Saliba comes on not fully fit, gets injured, and I think he should just rest him. And look at Saka now. Saka is a result of overplaying, and you know, there's the whole argument, are footballers playing too much? I think they are, but regardless, he should have had some more rotation pieces there for Saka. And obviously Saka, for me, is world class. I love Bukayo Saka, but you need someone to rotate, and I don't think he had that. You know, Sterling's not the guy to do that. Gabi Jesus is not the guy to do that. I don't really think, you know, you have anyone to come on for Saka, and of course there's no replacing Saka, don't get me wrong, but you should have options in the squad to rotate, and Arteta doesn't really do that a lot. Especially for Saka, I think, you know, the joke about Saka limping, I think it is real, because he just plays so much and he just never gets any rest from Arteta. And I think that is definitely something to look out for as well. I definitely think there is also something to say about 6 years and only winning an FA Cup. I do not count Community Shield, Super Cups. Let's be honest, they're one game, they don't count. So yeah, that one FA Cup, and that was when they're at their worst as well. To show nothing for it. Of course, you could show progression, and it's not all basically trophies. I suppose you can see how Arsenal have progressed and their sides have progressed, and that is good. Don't get me wrong. Progression of young players is a good indicator that it's gone well. But in terms of results, for me, it's not great. They should have at least won another FA Cup, or I think they should have been better in the Champions League as well. But yeah, I don't know. They're sort of very hot and cold, Arsenal, especially recently. I feel like this season was the season they were going to take to the next level, especially the way that City have been performing. But again, they just keep dropping points. You look at their recent schedule, they dropped points to Brighton, they dropped points to Everton, they dropped points to Fulham. They did beat Manchester United, of course, but then a few weeks back they lose to Newcastle, they draw to Chelsea, draw to Liverpool, which I guess isn't that bad, but then like a 2-0 loss to Bournemouth. It really shouldn't be happening at this stage of Arteta's project. They should be going into games and being every team. And I do think the Premier League this year is there's a lot more competition in the Premier League. A lot of teams are better than they were a few years ago. But I think if you look at it, they should be doing better. They should, at this phase of the project, be winning more titles and winning more games. And they shouldn't be dropping silly points to teams like a Bournemouth or a Brighton. They should be up and above that level. My main reason for being more Arteta in, give him, you know, a write-off this season and go in again, it's just, I don't see what manager comes in and wins it straight away for Arsenal. Because that's what you want, right? If you're going to get someone to come in, you want them to be better than Arteta is at the moment and sort of a serial winner, so to speak. I don't really know what managers out there would come in and be like a non-risk appointment that would progress Arsenal to the stage that they want to be. That is winning trophies and being first place and things. People have mentioned, obviously, I saw an AFTV clip a minute ago about Mourinho, that's obviously not right for the job. Mourinho, of course, a Serie A winner, but definitely not saying you want an Arsenal team at the moment. You look at the managers around the world. You've got guys like Xabi Alonso, but I still don't think that's a sure thing. I think, if you're going for someone like that, a project manager, you might as well just keep Arteta. There's a few other free agent ones as well. Xavi, I don't know if that's one that Arsenal want. You've got other guys out there still out of work, like Zidane. Do you go try and get someone who's at a big club already? Do you look for, maybe an up-and-coming manager from the Premier League? Do you look abroad? Do you look to Portugal again? At this rate, there's really no one in Portugal to go for that job, to be honest. But you know what I mean? There's no manager that screams out, yeah, he's going to come into Arsenal and change it. He's going to be the one to win it all. He's going to be the one to progress the project to the next level, or phase 5, phase 6, whatever it is. I just don't see it. So that's one of my reasons that I think Arteta should stay. Another reason I think he's just built the squad to his liking. I think getting another manager in, especially now, will do more harm than good. And I think he has been very unlucky with injuries this season, but like I said, some of them are to do with his lack of rotating. But, I think January has to be an important month for them to spend. If they want to try and progress well in the Champions League and, get more points in the Premier League, they do have to spend. I think a striker should be number one priority. Like I said, I like Kai Havertz, but they're just missing a striker. I think they're missing an out-and-out striker who scores goals. Gabi Jesus comes in and does well, but then gets injured again. It's the story of his career. The amount of injuries he's had is crazy, and I think it's time to move on from him, really, and try and get a striker who can be a goal threat and who can score goals. But I don't know. I think Gyökeres is not leaving in January, but I think if they would have went from this summer, he would have gone 100%. But yeah, I don't really know. I think you can look at it both ways. I've seen a lot more Arsenal fans be Arteta out than I have been before. I've seen a lot of Arsenal fans say that Arteta should stay and see out the season and go again next year. And I'm sort of in that camp. I think are you going to let the bad work of this season undo all the rest? And it has been progression from when he started, but I feel like they just stagnated at the moment. I think that is the issue that Arsenal fans have. Are they okay with being in second place and not winning the big one and just trying to go for it again and again? Or is it time to make a change? Is it time to bring someone in that can try and do that? Or are you okay with what you've got? To be fair, some people might be okay with that. They like progressing and they like to build, try and get better every season. But from that 2022-2023 season, have Arsenal really progressed that highly? Are they really on a trajectory like that, or is it just straight? And I think it is more of the flat line straight. I don't think they're getting better. You could arguably say they're maybe getting worse with the signings they've made. And I don't know. I just don't see... to be honest, I don't know. I'm on the fence. I'm sort of 50-50. I lean more towards Arteta staying. If I was an Arsenal fan, I want him to stay. But I don't know. What do you think? Arsenal fans, let me know what you think. If you support another club. I know I've got a lot of subscribers that are Manchester United fans and they're buzzing, and rightly so. Congratulations through to the next round of the FA Cup. Amorim could win a trophy this year. Hopefully he does. That would be good. But yeah, let me know what you think. Have they reached their peak of Arteta? Is that what you think it is? Is there just no more going on? Maybe it's just the peak that this team is going to go unless they start spend even more money. Yeah, let me know. Thank you very much for watching. Check out my other videos on the channel. I've got a few that are Premier League related. There's a video that I would really suggest for us fans and any other fans of Premier League teams. One player from Liga Portugal, which is sort of the expert league of mine, I suppose, being a sporting fan, if you couldn't tell by the sort of memorabilia I have everywhere. But yeah, that's a great video. I spent a lot of time on it, so make sure you check it out as well. But yeah, other than that, I'm Sam Saka. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you next time. And let me take the hat off. There we go. It's finally come off. There we go. Peace.